Hello and welcome back to another episode of Math with Son. On this episode, we are going to be doing some simple harmonic motion graphs, and there is a lot of subtle variation that you got to be careful with. So let's get into the most basic thing. For the first few graphs, we're going to be talking about pendulums and horizontal only springs, okay? And they will operate virtually the exact same way. So for a position versus time, in both of these, we're going to operate as if the starting position is at equilibrium. Okay, so we're going to pretend that that is the start. All right, so if that is the case, the position as a function of time, we're going to call this the x value right here, or the y value for that matter. X, because we're going left and right. All right, we're going to start at equilibrium. And as a function of time, if we go to the right first, we would be going right first. And then we would be going, after we get to here, we would slow down and then we would go back over. And then it would be at this point at equilibrium again. And then it would be coming back around. But here we're on the negative side for x. So that would mean that we are down low. And then we would come back up. All right, so this would be at equilibrium, and this would be one complete cycle. Now, don't think that just because you've done one sine graph or one cosine graph that this can't backtrack or keep going. All right, this is as a function of time. Now, the velocity of this, we need to think. Okay, so the velocity is always going to be largest, no matter what, at equilibrium. And that is true for a pendulum or a spring. The velocity is always going to be largest at equilibrium. So, in this case, we would have the velocity the largest up here. And then if we think velocity, it can actually be negative. And we're going to do another graph with speed. So the velocity is largest when we begin. And then it's going to slow down as it goes to the top. It's also going to slow down as the spring gets stretched. So it is going to slow down and it's going to get to 0 at some point. Now at this moment, when we have 0 velocity, it is switching from moving to the right to the left, so it will be negative velocity, and then it will loop up and back around, and it will end up being a cosine graph. Now that would be for velocity as a function of time, but if we decided to do speed as a function of time, well, speed cannot be negative, so it ends up being the absolute value of this, which is actually going to look like this, I believe. Okay, so, and there's a chance it's concave. I'm not sure about the concavity, if I have to be truly honest with you. But I think that I had the first one right, and then I just got nervous and I decided to make it look more curvy, but I'm pretty sure the absolute value would be like so, where it'd be kind of curving this way and curving that way. So you would pretend like that's the sine graph, and then you have to bounce it up and then be parabolic. So it would end up doing that number, where it would be mimicking the exact same sine graph. So we can't smooth it out. So if we did speed, we can't smooth it out. It would end up being like the velocity, and then you just literally have to bounce back up. All right, so that's the speed. Anywho, acceleration as a function of time. Acceleration almost always is considered to be a vector, but it could also end up being like a speed version as well. So the acceleration, so let's think, when is this thing going to be accelerating and when is it going to be positive? So if we have the spring, we have been doing the pendulum most. With the spring, it is slowing down the entire time we are moving to the right. And which direction is it? Well, if we look at Hooke's law, force of a spring is equal to negative kx. It's always a restoring value. So if the object is moving to the right, that means that the acceleration is going to the left. Okay? So as the object, we started at equilibrium, it was moving to the right, then the acceleration would be to the left. Well, if the acceleration is to the left, that's negative. And the question is, when is the acceleration the largest? Well, the acceleration would be the largest. Force of a spring is equal to kx, the further away you get. So it will start out relatively low, but then as we get to as far away as possible, that is going to be when the acceleration is the largest. And then when we get back to equilibrium, it will be 0 again. And then it'll be positive from this moment on. So once we get to this point at equilibrium, if we're moving to the left, now our acceleration will be in the opposite direction. Our acceleration is going to pull that spring back in that opposite direction. So it will be pulling it to the right. So when you're on the left side of the spring, it's pulling it to the right. When you're on the right side of the spring, it's pulling it to the left. And the acceleration would be positive when it pulls it to the right and negative when it pulls it to the left. So it ends up being that. You could also use a calculus method for these if you would like to. If you notice that the position graph is sine x, then the velocity would be the derivative of that. That's cosine x. And then the derivative of cosine is negative sine x. But if you do not know calculus, you have to think. Okay? So the frequency, if you're given any version of this graph, well, the frequency when you're given any version, you look at the period, and the period is 1 over the frequency. So if the period of this guy was 3 seconds, then you would do 3 is equal to 1 over frequency. And that would be true for the position, the velocity, or the acceleration. Does not matter. As long as you can find the period, you'd be good to go. Now, if you had a kinetic energy graph as a function of time, that's a little bit of a different story. Because the kinetic energy graph as a function of time, you need to also think in terms of the velocity. All right, so if we look at the velocity is highest here, so that would be when the kinetic energy is highest. And remember, we didn't really use that part. And then velocity is 0 here. That means the kinetic energy would be 0. But then the velocity is high again, so we'd be back up top. So it would appear, and this one is sinusoidal, it would appear that the period ended. But keep in mind, at this moment, we are only halfway through our period. So you need to look at a double kinetic energy graph. This is when it's truly finished its cycle for a kinetic energy graph. And the kinetic energy graph will be curvy. The speed would actually be kind of funky, like a W, like a sharp W. Okay? Now, we got some position graphs, and then we're going to do the same idea, but with a vertical spring, which actually changes the perspective. Okay, so velocity as a function of position. All right, so as a function of position, we just have to think here. I'm going to start with acceleration as a function of position for a spring, because I think that will be easiest for us to understand. So let's see here. The acceleration as a function of position, and I'm going to say that we are going to have here, this is x equals 0 at equilibrium. All right, so at equilibrium, the force of a spring, again, is equal to negative kx. I don't know where that k came from. Which means that at equilibrium, the k is whatever the k is, but the x is 0. So that means the force of a spring at equilibrium, let's just pretend that k is 12 and x is 0. That means there's no force. If there's no force, force of a spring is equal to ma. A is 0, because that means that 0 is equal to ma. All right. Well, that means that the acceleration at this dot is 0. All right. Well, let's say we go to max extension. Let's say that the max extension to the right, is 2. All right. Well, if that's the case, then look at this equation. The force of a spring is equal to kx, x, k. This is a mx without the b. This is a y equals mx plus b equation, but b is 0. So this is going to be linear. mx or kx is equal to ma. It's a kx is equal to ma. So it's a linear equation, and your y value is the acceleration. The k value and the m are just the slope, and then the x is the x value. So this is going to be a linear graph. All right, but it is important to recognize that when you are on the right side of equilibrium, that means that the acceleration is pulling you to the left. So the acceleration is pulling you to the left when you're on the right side. So here, if we are at our max distance, we would be pulling to the left, and it would be the strongest to the left. And when we're on the left side, or being pulled to the right. So we're on the left side, that's when x is negative. So here at the minimum or at the max compression, then it will be up top because it's being pulled as strong as it can to the right. And that would be our acceleration graph. Okay, so how do we go from acceleration to velocity? Well, it would end up being a situation where you could find the area, or you could, like integrate this guy, but that again uses calculus, so I'm trying to avoid using calculus here. So I'm going to start with kinetic energy as a function of position, because I feel like that will help us a little bit more. Okay, so 1/2 kx squared will equal 1/2 mv squared. I hope we can agree with that. So that means that the further the position is, again, this is x equals 0, we have no kinetic, we would have no extension here, but that doesn't mean we wouldn't have no kinetic energy there. Okay, so at the equilibrium, our kinetic energy is the highest. Okay, at equilibrium, our kinetic energy is the highest, and that would mean that the elastic potential energy is 0. So at equilibrium, our kinetic energy is the highest, and we've already done this graph for the most part. And then once we have max extension, our kinetic energy at max extension would be 0. And then at our other, like max compression, our kinetic energy would also be 0. All right, so the question now is, what kind of graph would we be looking at here? Well, let's see. If we looked at the kinetic energy as a function of position, if we plug in an x value here, that's squared, and that's that. So like, I feel like, I mean, it's really just, let's simplify it a little bit further. Kinetic energy is going to be equal to 1/2 k x squared, right? That means kinetic energy is equal to 1/2 k, those are irrelevant, x squared. That's parabolic. That's parabolic, and we've already got the general shape. We got the general shape. We know it's 0 here, we know it's 0 there. That means that if it's parabolic, this is going to look like so. And it happens to just be a sad-facing parabola. And you might be wondering, how? It kind of goes into the idea that kinetic energy is always positive, and the force of a spring is equal to negative kx. That's kind of how it relates to it. But I just kind of like this idea of here. Okay, now that we've got the kinetic energy out of the way, let's look at the velocity as a function of x. The velocity would be 1/2 kx squared is equal to 1/2 mv squared. Okay, so if that's the case, what do we got now? Well, we could square root both sides because we want it to be a function of x, right? And then we would have x would be equal to v. Okay, so that means that the velocity, at least as far as I'm concerned, feels like it would be almost the same graph, but it would be, if it's a position graph, it would be more absolute value, unless I'm wrong. Which there is a chance that I am on that one because I'm scratching my head thinking about it, but I'm pretty sure that is correct. If anybody wants to tell me after they watch this video in the comment section, I would be happy to know.